Where's my D20?
Gobbo!
Worth it.
Hello and welcome to Hobb's Horror Stories. I am Hobb, your hobgoblin narrator, back this week to tell you another great TTRPG story. This week I have two stories for you. The first one is about everyone's favorite ogre,
Are we doing Ogie?
Shrek.
Oh. Oh no. I feel like I should be scared.
And the second story that we have for you today is about a player who found the perfect brew for them. Neither of these stories today are horror stories, but both of them tell really good tales that I wanted to share so that everyone could get just a little bit of the joy that I got while reading these stories. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. This first story comes from Reddit on r/D&D Stories and was written by Jack of Trade 5. The title of this story is I made a Shrek one-shot, and now my players won't stop questioning every game I make. So, earlier this year, I tried my hand at DMing for the first time for a group of players. I dabbled a tad before, but this was the first planned-out, developed one-shot. One of the two players was a huge Shrek fan, so I made a plotline about the lord of a town, who was of course named Lord Farquaad, whose wife had gone missing. Turns out she was an ogre who had been using the disguise spell and ran away with her Shrek. Now this one-shot turned into multiple sessions through smaller than expected games and the fact that my players decided to instead start a business within the town first. Throughout the game, I dropped hints. The Lord was renovating the town to be more touristy, he hated any sort of magical creature, his wife's shopping list had food that ogres eat on it, they found tiny pearls that had disguise self spells on them. She didn't like anyone touching her, there were rumors of ogres in the swampland surrounding the town, and eventually, 4 sessions later, they find themselves heading for the swamp where they had been told the Lord's wife had been seen. Only when they then see 2 ogres do they go, wait, is this Shrek? To which I say, you see leaving the hut on the other side, a donkey!
Listen, little donkey. Take a look at me. What am I?
Really tall?
No! I'm an ogre.
They fight the big bad, the Lord, and the end. But now? Now I'm making a casual, relaxed campaign, whilst we wait for a larger one to start. And I keep getting questions like, wait, is this the good place? Or something along the lines of that. They are expecting a pop culture twist for this new one that I've made. But I just made a basic town and a couple of quests. They are basically given free reign, and I don't have anything. OP, I have been there before. I made one reference to just a swamp nearby and the party instantly went there hoping to find an ogre. References and funny jokes are great, but if you are going for a more serious campaign, make sure to explain that to the party very clearly in a session 0. But altogether, the game is about having fun, so if you need to break it up and throw in a random fantasy character, just go ahead and throw in some singing men running by, all wearing tights as they head on a quest to steal from the rich and give to the poor. Now with that, let's get on to the second story. This story comes from Reddit on r/RPG horror stories. This story was written by Moonchaser22, and the title of this story is The Toll Troll, aka the story of how I fell in love with my D&D group. We get a lot of stories here of games going to shit because of people being terrible. So today I thought I'd lighten the mood and bring you all a tale of how inexperience and a lack of foresight derailed an entire session in a way we all laughed about to this day, even if it's not entirely a horror story. We were around level 2 or 3 playing 5e, and I was having a blast with my first ever TTRPG. The GM thought it would be fun to include a little social encounter to break up the monotony of travel. We came to a bridge spanning a deep chasm, which was guarded by a troll.
I'm the grumpy old troll who lives under the bridge.
To our surprise, the troll was friendly and only asked for a small amount of gold to cross. After some questioning, we discovered he's using the gold to maintain the bridge. So we were all happy to pay the toll and move on with our day. All of us except the sorcerer, that is. For reasons I doubt he even remembers, our sorcerer insisted on questioning the troll further, almost interrogating him even. Sorcerer started demanding to find out what happens if you don't pay the toll. Simple, you don't cross the bridge. It was at this point our party noticed the clearly humanoid bones nearby. The more talkative players started insisting that the sorcerer just pay the toll like the rest of us had already paid so we could move on. I meanwhile sat and watched in horror as I was too much of a socially anxious bundle of nerves back then to get involved. We already had a few close calls this campaign and didn't want to fight this guy. The sorcerer didn't relent. He went on and on to say how dare the troll kill travelers while the troll insisted he only killed those who tried to cross without paying. This back and forth went on until the troll is done with being insulted by sorcerer. The troll backhanded him, damage was rolled, and the sorcerer immediately goes down. Roll initiative. Except this was not supposed to be a combat encounter. The GM told us to go get drinks, nip to the loo, and whatever while he goes and finds a troll stat block. The player, who had some D&D experience, shared a knowing look that conveyed even though me and my inability to read social cues recognized the level of trouble we were in. Short break over and combat ensued. Paladin focused on getting the sorcerer up, only for sorcerer to be knocked out immediately again on the troll's turn. The rest of us were focusing on damage and honestly weren't really getting anywhere because our only character with fire damage was the unconscious sorcerer. We needed an escape or a TPK was very possible. Even the GM was getting nervous. The bard had the great idea of casting Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and thankfully the trolls failed the save. One by one, as turns go on, players get off the bridge, the paladin dragging the unconscious sorcerer with him, deeming it not worth the effort to try another lot of healing. The only people remaining on the bridge was the cleric and my ranger, and the troll who was still on the floor laughing. The cleric's player turned, looked me in the eyes, and said a phrase that still fills me with dread over 8 years later. "Do you trust me?" All I could think of were the memories of our first session where Cleric killed a bandit with a hug and a rather unpleasant dose of inflict wounds. "No, but you're gonna do it anyway." Cleric turned and slashed the support ropes to the bridge dropped out from under our feet, the troll plummeted into the darkness, and after 2 of the most nerve-wracking deck saves I've ever rolled, our characters were dangling from the remnants of the bridge. We climbed up while Paladin once again healed the sorcerer, and the sorcerer vowed to never treat Constitution as a dump stat again. Now we had a new problem. Half the party was on either side of a chasm so deep we couldn't see the bottom, and we just destroyed the only bridge for miles around.
Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. You know, I may laugh, but I'd probably do the same thing.
Despite 2 people no longer playing with us due to other commitments, we still play as a group to this day. Sorcerer evolved into a fantastic GM who took us through an amazing 5-year-long campaign from levels 4 to 20. But we still won't let him live down dumping Khan and starting a fight with a troll in that first campaign. I love stories like this. I love getting to tell a tale of adventure and people coming together. That's what TTRPGs are all about. And browsing in Reddit horror stories for a long time can kinda make you a pessimist about games altogether. But for everyone out there, and everyone reading those horror stories, just remember, There are hundreds of fun adventures like these for every one horror story. So with that, let's roll the outro. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you have any stories you would like to have read here on the channel, please share them to the email in the description below. Or if you want to see the Goblin Grotto and join our little goblin community, there is also a link to our Discord. If you could please like, comment, and subscribe, it would help us greatly to slay the monster known as... the Algorithm! Thank you for your time from all of us here at Goblins and Gremlins.